Hi, folks. Last time I was here, I was talking about Adam Carroll's South of Town album, which I had a chance to work on, and how I was blown away with his songs, his songwriting, his whole presentation. Then he came to me a year or two later, wanting to do a second record, and I thought he would never match the songs on the first record, but sure enough, the songs were amazing, and it was called Screen Door. And there's a song on there called Errol Song. And it's a song, you think it's about hunting, but it's really not. It's a friend of the family named Mr. Errol, and he used to mentor Adam and take him hunting. And the song's not really about hunting, it's about just having a good positive influence in a kid's life. And so I love this song. And sometimes I just sing the chorus to myself for my own amusement. And it goes something like this. He held my hand when my boots got too heavy, with the mud from the rice fields coming to my behind. We set out the decoys in the dark on the levee, when we walked through the graveyard of the rusted combine. Yeah, we walked through the graveyard of the rusted combine. Adam Carroll.
Looking out the screen door through the smoke into your eyes. Looking out the screen door through the smoke into your eyes. You're smiling through the screen door, darling. It's worth 10,000 goodbyes. I'm cleaning up the table at the barbecue tonight. I'm cleaning up the table barbecue tonight. I'm looking out the screen door where your face comes in the lights. You said you love the tool pusher 'cause he bought you a ring. You said you love the tool pusher 'cause he bought you a ring. But I pledge my love 1,000 times to you behind the Coke bottle machine. I make a wish when you're not looking, and I keep my fingers crossed. Well, it's only wishful thinking, but I keep my fingers crossed. While you take the old man's orders on a checkered tablecloth. You ask me what have I got, darling, when I go back home. You ask me what have I got, darling, when I go back home. I got a trash sack full of rib bones. I got a pocket full of songs. They're all for you. You're waiting for the tool pusher. I'm turning out the light. You're waiting for the tool pusher. I'm turning out the lights. He just got back from Kilgore. He's got a lipstick stain tonight. I got grease from washing dishes. You got a name tag on your chest. I got grease from washing dishes. You got a name tag on your chest. You're walking out the screen door, and the smoke is all that's left. Mm-hmm. Thanks so much, everybody. Had to take a breath there. A couple of breaths. It's hard to breathe through that harmonica. But at least I'm not in an iron lung right now. A lot to be grateful for. A lot to be grateful for here. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us tonight. And we're talking about Looking Out the Screen Door, second album that I made with Mr. Lloyd Baines, at the time in Cedar Creek Studios in Austin, Texas. We recorded around 2000 or so, I think. And I think I wrote a lot of the songs to the Screen Door. Kind of the same, we did, for those of you who might not know, we did South of Town a couple of weeks ago. And I think I wrote a lot of these songs around that same time that I wrote those songs. But I guess a few of them I wrote, between those times. And so I had a demo tape. The first demo tape, I made it in Tyler with the South of Town songs on it. Demoed by a guy named Bob Gentry, studio engineer, recording engineer there in Tyler, Texas. Worked at Rosewood Studios, where they did Leanne Rimes' record, Blue, I believe. Might be wrong about that. I gave that demo tape to Lloyd Baines. But the second demo tape, the Screen Door album, I think I just made it on a cassette recorder or something. I can't even remember exactly how I recorded those songs. Might have been into a Fisher-Price tape recorder. I was a little bit of a recluse in those days. Pretty much the same, except for now I'm able to, got married and have a house. But let's see. you know, Lloyd, I remember he gave me a thumbs up. Um, I gave the screen door demos to him at a benefit concert uh, at a dance hall um, around kind of near Green. I think it was the Sanger Hall. And I remember he still had a tape recorder in his car, tape player at that time, and I remember he was driving away and he gave me a thumbs up sign. So it told me that you know I thought that was a good sign. I think he liked the songs. Maybe he was going to give me another shot to make another record, and that's what happened. Got me in there to do a second record, and that's Looking Out the Screen Door. And about that same time, I had moved to San Marcos. Thanks to our good friend Terry Hendricks, convinced me to move to San Marcos. And I was living in a rent house. It was a rent house that Terry used to live in, and she was moving into a house of her own. And I got to go in there and move in there after she moved out. And it was right next to the train tracks. Those of you who know San Marcos know that there's not much you can do about the train. As much as civilization times change, the train seems to stay the same, and you have to wait for it there in that town. And so I had met I think Kent Finley at Cheatham Street Warehouse. He just opened up Cheatham Street about the same time I moved to San Marcos, and I was getting ready to work on this record Screen Door, and Kent started booking me at Cheatham Street like once a month. Man, I had so many gigs, even though nobody came. But I had like so many gigs at Cheatham Street, thanks to that guy. He just kept asking me back. And then whenever I was just sitting at the house, at the little rent house, which was a lot between the gigs, eating TV dinners and watching late night television. He would call me and ask me to come and hang out at shows. I would get to go in there for free, and then I would play shows there. And most of the time, nobody came, but he kept booking me. And about that same time, I noticed, through some mutual friends, this guy that played in Robert Earl Keen's band, Bill Whitbeck. He was always hanging out at Cheatham too, when he was not on the road with Robert Earl Keen. And I thought, man, this is so cool because this guy has this job with Robert Earl Keen. And he's always here when he's not on the road. So it must be a cool place. And he acted like he was so laid back about it all. Like, he was, he loved that place. And he loved songwriters too, just like Kent. And man, what a great bass player and thoughtful songwriter. And we're going to hear a little bit from Bill about this next song.
Hey everybody. Bill Whitbeck here from the Robert Earl Keen Band, and Adam Carroll asked me to say something about his album, Screen Door album, but I'm not going to do that, Adam. I'm going to talk about my music. No, I'm going to talk about one song off of the Screen Door album. So the whole album, is great and everything. Who introduces the song by saying the title of the song? That's one of the first things that I thought was really interesting about this. So anyway, I'm going to talk about my favorite Adam Carroll song that's on that record called Race Car Joe. So in 5 verses of 4 lines each, that's 20 lines, he's vividly described this character. If I could draw, I think I could draw him, and it's almost like a a movie script or something.
Thank you, Bill. I think old Race Car Joe would have liked you a lot, man. I don't know where he's at, but here he is right here. When the wheels are rolling '94 in a 55 with a burning engine. He would go down the Gladewater Highway, race car Joe, past the Green Frog sign where they sold beer. Takes his orders from an engineer, and he tells the tool pushers which way to go. And that's one day's work for race car Joe. He's got the camel cash from one last drag before he takes his grandkids out to Six Flags. And the sun has weathered where the wrinkles show, but the years ain't broken. Race car Joe. All right. There's restless dreams, oil fires, broken drill bits on a blown out tire. And all along the holy road, he's seen them all. Race car Joe, 6'5", East Texas style, brand new teeth now on a crooked smile, in a 1-ton pickup with a cancer glow. When he looks at you, race car Joe, when he works with you, race car Joe, when he smiles at you, race car Joe. That's Race Car Joe. He was a drilling superintendent. Hadn't seen him in a long time, from Frankston, Texas. Had a job working. My dad got me a job working for a petroleum engineer named James Smith. And thanks to James, I got to run pieces of paper that I didn't understand what was on them around town, and sometimes to Austin, and sometimes to mostly around Tyler, and I'd get lost in my own hometown, and the stuff would be late, and I would ruin some important thing that the petroleum engineers needed. Sometimes I got it right, but I got a pager, and he had me gluing cut up pieces of paper with board and ice cream spoons to make spines out of it. And during that time, I wrote a lot of these songs, and I think he would occasionally come in there and see that I was doing just that, and shake his head and walk away. But thanks, James, for giving me that job that I wasn't very good at, so I could write these songs. Thank you so much. I know you knew that I wasn't very good at it, but you kept me on anyway because my dad gave me the job, and you liked him a lot, and liked me too, I think, after I quit. Yeah, so I was wrote this song, as I talked about in South of Town, which you can still purchase with the link if you'd like. My dad Otis, he had a lot of great records. My dad and mom both, and from left over from their college days, and he had Jerry Jeff's first record in there in his own record collection. I think when he discovered that I was into this kind of stuff, he took it out, showed it to me, and gave me his turntable, and I played it, and that's, man, what a great record. Charlie Dunn's on there, and Desperados, Waiting for a Train, I think, or Old Time Feeling. I mean, Guy Clark song. So they had a record store in Tyler called Timeless Books and Music, and the guy would go to these record shows, and he would get all these old 70s records, and he knew that I was into, Townes and Guy and Robert Earl Keen and stuff. So sometimes he would see me coming, and he would say, "Hey, I got this and this and this," Nobody else that was my age knew about it then. And I got Jerry Jeff's Contrary to Ordinary record, and I noticed he was kind of painted up like a clown or something on that record, which I hate to bring a clown into this. It's a little hard for me to talk about those, but they got some good points. Jerry Jeff's Contrary to Ordinary. So I wrote this song. I started writing this song hoping that he would cover it, and I worked on it a long time, and it had about 30, had a lot of verses, because I was trying to figure out what would be the best verses. So I wrote all these verses trying to figure it out. So this song was like a dramatic love story between a rodeo clown and like at a circus, or a rodeo, and a girl working at the circus or the rodeo. And the reason I was thinking today when we were making this, getting ready for the show, that I think where I got these ideas, in addition to Jerry Jeff's music in that album, was because when I was in high school in North Carolina, I think from my parents' library, and also I maybe bought a couple, but I found Larry McMurtry's first couple of books. And for those of you that haven't read them, it's pre-Lonesome Dove. I mean, Lonesome Dove's awesome, and those westerns are amazing. But some of those first trilogies of his are fantastic. And after HUD, there's some trilogies with the same characters, and there was some stuff in there about rodeo clowns and romances and drama and life in Texas then. And I think because I was in North Carolina, it seemed all the more romantic to me because I missed Texas. And they're real characters in there, what old Larry did. And so I think from reading those books, I also got the idea from this song. So I wanted to write I wanted to write a song that Jerry Jeff would cover about this rodeo clown, or bullfighter as they're called. That's what Ryan Bingham said. They're called bullfighters. And that and about a romance between these two. People that get kind of ignored, but when the dust settles, they find something they have in common. When the crowd's left the bleachers, and the last bull is taken out of the chute or whatever. So, but what happened was I kept trying to write it as a serious song, kind of a drama, and it wouldn't work. And then I started thinking about these snow cones that I guess the girl would sell, or woman would sell at this concession stand, and she would get bored, and she would have all these different flavors for different emotional times in her life. And I don't know how it happened. It just just came out. So, but here, Jerry Jeff has never sang this, and I've never met him, and maybe you never know. But Jerry, thank you for making all that really good music. So here we go. Let's see if this is going to work. There it is. Sorry, everybody. Jerry Jeff definitely doesn't want to cover that song. So that's the way it starts. But I actually wanted to say one more thing about it, and that is that little did I know at the time that this actually, was a comedy, started out as a drama, turned into a comedy. It started writing itself, and I just stood there, sat there, and but over the years, it's actually become, unbeknownst to me, just you parents will be happy about this. It's become a very very popular children's song, and
All right, so Joni,
Yeah.
the other day we were driving and we were listening to my friend Adam's record. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Looking out the screen door record. And we were listening to the
Yeah.
whole thing. And Joni was in the front seat with me. And the Snow Cone Man song came on and she listened quietly the whole time. I thought she wasn't paying attention, actually. And then what'd you say?
I said it's the only grown up in the whole world who likes snow cones as much as kids.
Yep. I think so. You'd probably like Adam. He likes snow cones.
I can tell.
Yellow snow cones, right?
I like purple ones and blue ones.
Yeah. Well, I think that Adam likes yellow ones. The girlfriend
too.
does anyway, right?
Mm,
Is that the
Yeah.
point
I think so.
at the end?
Yeah.
He gives her a yellow snow cone and then she goes off into the sunset with him.
That's weird.
I love that record. It's a good record, right, Joni?
Yeah.
Yeah, we liked it. Thanks, Adam, for making really great songs that I can listen to even with my children.
well, it was out in the hot sun, standing in line, buying snow cones in the summertime, buying snow cones from the Snow Cone Man. How many cones in July have you sold? Can't sell them at Christmas time, it's too damn cold, said the Snow Cone, said the Snow Cone Man. I can't get no cones for a nickel or a dime, can I date your sister, she's mighty fine, Mr. Snow Cone, Mr. Snow Cone Man. Your sister Jeannie, she bought me two. It was cherry for love, it was grape for blue, Mr. Snow Cone, Mr. Snow Cone Man. He gave me directions to her whereabouts, said if she likes you, you should take her out. I said, thank you, Snow Cone. Thank you, Snow Cone Man. That's what I said. But she's got a great big boyfriend, might give me a whipping. He bought me a yellow one, called me a chicken. He said, you are a chicken. I said, thank you, Snow Cone Man. I took my yellow snow cone. I was on my way. Stopped and bought a pretty rose bouquet with the snow cone. With the Snow Cone Man. I found her house. She was at the door. And there was snow cone cups scattered on the floor. From her brother, the Snow Cone Man. She saw my flowers, and she said everybody knows the yellow snow cone is better than a red, red rose. Be my snow cone, darling. Won't you be my snow cone man? That's what she said. She cried watermelon tears, prettiest ever seen. Gave me kisses and my tongue turned green. Lime green flavor from the Snow Cone Man. Pretty good. She said, my big, big boyfriend, I don't like him at all. He's hard-headed, snow cone small. Little snow cone, little snow cone man. She took me upstairs and we sang this song. Been making snow cones all day long. Me and Jeannie making snow cone love. I asked Jeannie, darling, would you be my wife? Sell me snow cones at half the price. Sell me snow cones from the snow cone man. We got married and we said I do. It was a cone for me, it was a cone for you. Got married by the snow cone man. He was a rabbi. Had a reception at the snow cone stand. Had her honeymoon in snow cone land. Compliments of. You know who I'm talking about. Well, it was out in the hot sun, standing in line, buying snow cones in the summertime. Buying snow cones from the snow. The little polka sound right there. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Jamie and Joni. Jamie Lynn Wilson and her daughter, Joni. You know, I got to tell Jamie and Joni, you know, all the rage is going to be all the rage next. Yellow snow cones, a chicken flavored snow cone. Just watch. It's going to be a big deal. It's going to be a big deal. Well, I guess the next song here on the old Screen Door record is called Amanda's Song. And so I guess the one thing I want to say about it that I can really remember and relate to is that there in Tyler, Texas, where I'm from, when I was just out of high school and taking community college classes and working jobs, some jobs now and again. At Hastings Books and Music, I think it was called. Of course, it's no more now. But they had like an Americana section, or whatever you call it, you know, roots music. And they had all these. It's where I get all my Robert Earl records, and it was a lot of records they had available there, and I got this. I discovered Steve Forbert. I can't remember how. I think it was on NPR, and I got most of his records that I could find, and I bought them and I listened to them, and I just was amazed by this guy and his songwriting, and found out that he had been around for years and years, and a lot of people knew about him, and so I went and started watching him with these couple of old hippie-ish 40-something people in Dallas at different places when he would come through Dallas there. And man, everything he would do, his harmonica playing and his guitar playing and his songwriting, he would say the weirdest things and people would go along with him, you know, and he would make it work and make sense. And he was an awesome, he played like Jimmy Reed, you know, and he was an awesome guitar player and songwriter. And I never heard anyone like that. And I told him I wanted to be a songwriter like him, and he just kind of looked at me, you know, but once. But after listening to so many of his albums, you know, I think his style, you know, really influenced this song. So this is kind of I think of him when I think of this song, you know, his writing and guitar playing and everything. It's called Amanda's Song. Well, I'm driving and I'm dreaming, stopping at the same old place, thinking about the way that your dirty blonde hair never hides your pretty face. Your smiling eyes are blazing when you hold a cigarette, thinking about the times that you looked that way. Don't think I will forget. Don't think I will forget. When daylight in your window feels like moonlight in the skies. And well, I wonder if you're thinking about me. Does the sunshine hurt your eyes? You might be living with a perfect stranger. I might be looking for a friend. Wonder if you're thinking about me in the morning once again. Well, I can't sleep in on Sunday. Sleeping's getting old. I wonder if you're thinking about me 10 years down the road. I might see neon making magic from the inside of a bar. See the statue of the Virgin from the dashboard of a car. I used to call you in my daydreams, but I don't remember how. Wonder if you're thinking about the way things were and how they're different now. And I judge the distance that's between us from the plaster on the wall. I wonder when you're thinking, do you think about love? Do you think of me at all? Do you think of me at all? I'm driving and I'm dreaming, stopping at the same old place, thinking about the way that your dirty blonde hair never hides your pretty face, never hides your pretty face.
Hey everybody, it's Coach. It's another edition of Coach's Corner. This week we come to you from the actual corner of my office. I'm going to talk a little bit about Screen Door real quick here. As I said before, with South of Town, I was still unaware of Adam's music when Screen Door came out, but through a couple other people, 2 songs specifically on Screen Door were my introduction to his songwriting. I believe about 2003, I was at a Fred Eaglesmith show, and Fred's pedal steel player, Roger Marin, was opening the show, and he covered Blondie and Dagwood. To my recollection, which admittedly could be a little foggy, but he didn't introduce it as someone else's song. And when we left, a buddy of mine and I spent the entire drive home really just talking about that Blondie and Dagwood song. Oddly enough, I didn't really look into it too much. I just assumed it was a Roger Marin song. It kind of went on, went about my way, kind of just in the back of my head, that song was there. And then maybe 2005-ish, I got a Hayes Carl bootleg from a festival in Vermont. And in between songs, he said, last year I was here and I played half my set were Adam Carroll songs, and I let you all believe that I wrote them, but I can't do that this year. Adam's playing here, but I'm still going to do one of his songs. And, my ears perked up a little bit, who's he covering here? And he went into Girl with the Dirty Hair. I don't think I made it through, till the next song on that CD before I was trying to find somebody to send me something from Adam Carroll. And the bootleg that I mentioned last time on South of Town was in my hands within a week. And from there, I bought every record that was available. The last few years as I've worked with Adam and Chris, I get the pleasure of talking to a lot of Adam's fans and radio people and press people that have supported his career for the last 20 some years. And I think that more than any other record, Screen Door comes up as a kind of a starting off point for Adam Carroll fans. They're like, oh, I got turned on by him by Screen Door, you know. So I think that says a lot about not only the impact of the record when it was released, but the staying power and the impact it's had for the last 20 years. Enjoy the rest of the show, and we'll see you next time.
All right. That's Coach's Corner, everybody. That's our coach, Adam Dawson. We call him the coach. He's become that for us. And me and Christian. And yeah, that was great, man. Can't you just see him calling a game like John Madden? Doesn't that remind you of, John Madden? Yeah. Well, so, I want to just kind of, speaking of our coach, he's taken his love of music and his savvy. He's got a pretty good head on his shoulders, and he's taken his promo savvy and his interest in the music business to he's become our publicist and record promoter and booking agent and spiritual leader in times. And that's kind of what you need. Sometimes you got to do it yourself. But one thing is that happened with with Screen Door is that it got really good press in radio. I think a pretty good amount of people played it on the radio in Texas there, and I got to play a lot of shows and around Texas mostly, and played a lot of shows just in Texas, a lot. This great team, Julie CB, Vicky Lucero, they worked with a lot of Texas artists and Americana artists. So, they were the coach when this thing came out. And so if it wasn't for folks like that, this thing probably wouldn't have gotten out there as much, because you need a team. You needed support, and want to thank them for that, because this has become, so far, I think we've sold the most tickets to this one. This is only our second one, but I think over time, I think a lot of people like Screen Door, and thank you. For whatever reason, I'm pretty loose right now, and that's the way that we recorded this album, me and old Lloyd Maines. Not a lot of fanfare, pretty loose, and just me doing pretty much what I'm doing right now, 20-something years ago. So thank you, Vicky and Julie, and thank you, Coach, and want to just say thank everybody who believes in songwriting and songwriters and good music. Thank you for sticking with us, and that's the reason I got involved, because I love songs, songwriter songs. I want to know, all about it that I can. And so that's why I'm here. And this, speaking of publicity and photo shoots, you got to have good, it helps to have good pictures, that they're so important. Me and old Chris Carroll, she makes posters, and I usually just sit there and watch her do it. And pretend to be working, kind of like at old James Smith's office. But you really got to have good pictures. So photography is still really important, even though nowadays most musicians, we have to do it, do all this stuff ourselves now, because it's harder for that to happen the way it used to. But you still got to have good pictures. Pictures worth 1,000 words still. So this song is kind of about that. My parents, my mom was my first coach, and helped me, and my first publicist, and helped me get some photos and some publicity to go around and give to the Barnes and Noble in Tyler, Texas, so I could try to get a gig there. try to convince them that I was important over the steaming coffee. And so this is one of something we tried to do back then when I was just over a teenager. And this was a photo shoot that went haywire. So hopefully this will never happen. If y'all are getting ready to make a record, anybody out there that's a songwriter, hopefully you never have to, have this happen to you when you're trying to promote your song, your album. Old John Prine, I try to, play guitar just like him, but he only uses these two fingers. He does all this stuff with just these two. One, and his thumb. And see, I have to use all three. This song's a love story with a little bit of allegory. Though I don't know what it's trying to teach about. It isn't really leaning toward a pornographic meaning, but it's kinky of that I have no doubt. Cameraman, he had the notion to take my picture for promotion, though it might not get my career very far. Took the picture in a pose with a blonde-haired girl named Rose. She wrapped her legs around me and my guitar. And this song's for Rose. Well, the scene, it was outrageous. You and me, we were courageous. We stayed still because we could not misbehave. Your skin was smooth and fair, rubbing up against my hair. I felt all the spots where you'd forgot to shave. We weren't lovers or friends. When we looked into the lens, there were some secrets you did not want me to know. Taking shots from different angles where my shoulders met your ankles, and some other stuff you didn't want to show. The tattoos on your ankles, kiss the love bites on my neck, babe, and they got us in a tender, tight squeeze. With your legs wrapped around me, it was happiness that found me, from the tip of my head to the tops of your knees. Well, if we applied the laws of physics, you'd be a subtle dominatrix, 'cause the goosebumps on your shin bones made me blush. But listen to me, sister. We were in a game of Twister, and you're someone I'm gonna have to trust. You and me, we weren't speaking. Your makeup was streaking. There's a cool breeze blowing up your dress. And there's the ever-present danger of getting stared down by strangers. But that's just the laws of nature, babe, I guess. 'Cause the tattoos on your ankles kiss the love bites on my neck, babe, and they got us in a tender, tight squeeze. With your legs wrapped around me, it was happiness that found me, from the tip of my head to the tops of your knees. All right, the photo shoot's almost done. Thank goodness. You and me, we had to be bold. Cameraman stopped to reload, turned his back, and he left us sitting there. As we sat there all the while, I couldn't help but smile as you rubbed your hands through my messed up head of hair. couldn't see your undershirt, but from the outlines in your miniskirt, I knew there was a heaven up above. My head was getting lighter as your hip bones squeezed me tighter in the purgatory pressure points of love. 'Cause the tattoos on your ankles kiss the love bites on my neck, babe, and they got us in a tender, tight squeeze. Guy Clark D7 chord. With your legs wrapped around me, it was happiness that found me. From the tip of my head to the tops of your knees, there is again. Everybody, I guess it's just me. With your legs wrapped around me, it was happiness that found me. From the tip of my head to the tops of your knees. And Lloyd Maines wrote this line: cameraman, you don't have to tell me to smile.
Three, two, one, and we're back. Hey everybody, Randy Rogers here. I just wanted to say a few things about Adam and his music and how it inspired me in my journey as a musician, as a songwriter. Adam and I met at Cheatham Street Warehouse at open mic night somewhere around 1998 or 99. And it used to frustrate me because Kent would always ask me to go on directly after Adam had played Snow Cone Man. And so it was a frustrating time in my life, but it also made me become a better writer. I was working at that time at a publicity company as an internship for my senior year of college there at Southwest Texas State University. And Adam was a client of the publicity company that I worked at. And to get more involved in the music industry, I decided that I was going to be a booking agent. And the one artist that I knew that I could book was Adam Carroll. So I started my own booking agency. I knew that one day maybe I would be a singer-songwriter if I, stuck to it. So I named my booking agency Randall Wade Enterprises. So I booked Adam. I called clubs all throughout the country and booked Adam into rooms, and I had a great time doing it. And I learned so much about the music industry because of Adam Carroll and because of that time in my life where I was so hungry to learn about the industry and to work in the industry and to be a songwriter. I will be eternally grateful to Adam for that opportunity and for trusting me. I was just a kid. He was just a kid then too. But Adam, I love this record. Looking at the Screen Door, I think Errol's song, I think Hunter's song, of course, Snow Cone Man, as well as the title cut, Looking Out the Screen Door. For me, I know every word to all those songs. So good to hear from you, Adam. Hope to see you soon. Thanks so much.
Errol's song was written about my dad, Errol Lonsberry. He was a great man with just a really larger-than-life personality. He was absolutely passionate about everything he did. He loved farming, he loved his family, and he absolutely loved doing things with his grandkids. I think my favorite quote from him was written when they interviewed him for one of the Farm Journal magazines. They quoted him as saying, "I never get tired of seeing the sun. It goes down way too early on me long before I get tired." I think that just perfectly describes how he felt about life. He really had no acquaintances. Everyone he met became a close friend, including Adam's dad, Otis, and he always invited his friends to go hunting. But Dad always had a good story to tell about every hunt. But I don't think anyone captured the story better than Adam when he wrote Errol's song. When he talks about the graveyard and the rusted combines and the boots and everything, it just paints this vivid picture. And every detail is there describing all of the rituals of the hunt. It's something that really resonates with a lot of people, especially hunters. I think Adam is just such a truly gifted and talented storyteller. And I don't think we realized initially how popular Errol's song was until people started calling us and asking about it. A few years ago, a friend called us and told us that Errol's song was the most requested hunting song 2 years in a row on an LSU fan site called Tiger Droppings. It's kind of a fun thing to know. And although it's been a number of years since it's released, we still get asked about it a lot. Several months ago, I was out in the garden and I heard some music playing and several people talking out on the neighbor's wharf. And shortly after, I received a text asking if I knew who Adam Carroll was. And some hunters were there playing Errol's song, and she immediately made the connection between the song and my dad. To us, the song isn't just a hunting song. It's Dad's legacy being shared with so many people who never had the chance to meet him. Dad influenced us tremendously, and we are grateful that Adam experienced something significant enough to compel him to share it. My 3 kids, as well as his other grandkids, were relatively young when my dad died, so Errol's song has kept Dad's memory alive and vivid in their minds, and now they'll be able to share it with their own kids. It has truly been a perpetual gift. I mean, who has their own song?
Mr. Errol, he lives on the banks of Lake Arthur, where your windshield gets foggy, where your back roads unwind. It's a long way from Shreveport, not too far from Gator, and it's close to the home that I left behind. It's close to the home that I left behind. Mr. Errol's a farmer, he's a father, he's a hunter, and he talks to the ducks and the geese in the blind. He works hard for the lives that he hopes to make better, and he lives by the graveyard of the rusty combine. Yeah, he lives by the graveyard of the rusty combine. He held my hand when my boots got too heavy, with the mud from the rice field coming to my behind. We set out the decoys in the dark on the levee, and we walked through the graveyard of the rusty combine. Yeah, we walked through the graveyard of the rusty combine. There's coffee and biscuits on the stove in the kitchen. There's a crack in the ceiling. There's a screened-in front door. When the fog starts to settle on the banks of Lake Arthur, I can still taste the whiskey from the night just before. It's a Crown Royal whiskey from the night just before. And it's hard to get up at 3 in the morning. Put your guns, put your shells, put your wine in the sack. He looks like some militia with our boots and our camo, with a bird dog named Milo, he's asleep in the back. And he held my hand when my boots got too heavy, with the mud from the rice field coming to my behind. We set out the decoys in the dark on the levee, and we walked through the graveyard of the rusty combine. Yeah, we walked through the graveyard of the rusty combine. All right. The combine's a monster, the combine's a savior. Looking down at the blades, I see heaven and hell. Cold steel cut the rice crops for acres and acres. Filled how many barrels? Man, I cannot tell. Filled how many dryers? Man, I cannot tell. From the banks of Lake Arthur to the Mermitau River, there's water as far as your good eyes can see. In the Lake Arthur bar, all the old men get rowdy. They got bottles of whiskey that are older than me. And he held my hand when my boots got too heavy, with the mud from the rice field coming to my behind. We set out the decoys in the dark on the levee, and we walked through the graveyard of the rusty combine. Yeah, we walked through the graveyard of the rusty combine. Sometimes I dream of a girl in a pickup, with her windows rolled down, with her radio on. When you look at the cypress on the Highway 190, then you give her a wave and you sing Joe LeBlanc.
Yeah, you give her away and you sing Jolie Blunt. Mr. Earl's a good friend. He's never a stranger. When I come back, seems like I've always been here. There's a sign in his kitchen. It's written in French. I can't say the French, but when you run out of Schlitz, you run out of beer. He held my hand when my boots got too heavy, with the mud from the rice field coming to my behind. We set out the decoys in the dark on the levee, and we walked through the graveyard of the rusty combine. Yeah, we walked through the graveyard of the rusty combine. All right. Well, thank you, Errol. Thank you, Lonsberries. I'm going to take a minute to talk about, to thank again our coach for being here, and thank y'all. And usually I'm doing these shows with my wife, Chris, and decided for me to try to present this the way that it was recorded. But I love it when she sings on this song. You know, this song, Blondie and Dagwood, my mom and dad had a great library, and my dad they both had a book that was a history of American comics, and they had the whole history of Blondie and Dagwood in there. And I looked in there; it was about the same time I was checking out those Steve Forbert records and R.E.K. records and Greg Brown, all those. You know, a lot of people who like this kind of music, like those folks. All the Towns Van Zandt records. You know, I just remember just looking through that and thinking, man, I could write a song like this maybe, and you know, maybe I could play harmonica. And I don't have to have experienced this really, but it's such a cool book that, and you know, my growing up as a little guy, my folks like to read the comics, you know, at breakfast and talk about them like they were really happening and laugh at them and stuff. And so I saw them through their eyes as as kind of a real thing. And so I probably wrote it about them, you know. But I have to say that if you like what you see here, I'm not talking about me, but if you like this show, you know, our coach and Chris Carroll did most of this. And her hair's not blonde, but she's definitely, you know, my Blondie. Because I'm like Dagwood around here. I sit down with a sandwich and I'm done. And she's like, take the sandwich and get to work. And I got the sandwich in one hand and, you know, plans of working in another. And usually I just eat the sandwich. But I'm so grateful to get to play shows with this lady. And all the stuff she does, she's like a ninja on the road and sings these beautiful harmonies. We've written great songs together in styles that I wouldn't have been able to do by myself. And, you know, she might say the same, I don't know, but I'm just talking about me. Anyway, I better stop talking. But ladies and gentlemen, Chris Carroll.
Hi, everyone. Hello, sweetheart.
How's it going?
I'm not going to contradict you. You worked very hard on this, though, as well. And thanks, Coach, for dreaming it up and making it a reality. And thanks, everyone, for tuning in and buying a ticket. And I can't wait to sing it with you. Everything's been so wonderful. I said last time that I get the best seat in the house. I'm the only seat in the house, and nobody comes here anymore.
It's true.
And
we
not
can't
that
clap
we
anymore.
laughed a lot. We didn't really have a lot of people here. We used to go to people's houses a lot more than we'd have people to ours. But
That's true.
But
That's
I
true, we
get the
did.
best seat. I have the only seat, and other than your seat, and it's fabulous. So it's been a wonderful night already.
I'm glad you're sitting down here with me.
I'm so glad to be here.
All right. Uh-oh. This kind of stuff happens
That's okay. It's a real thing.
at a real show.
Did you have it? Was it in a drop D?
Here we go. got papers on his desktop, stacked up in a bunch. Dagwood's worked for decades, never been promoted once. Blondie's got the lunch crowd in a catering cafe. She's tired of making meatloaf. It's time to get away. Hey Blondie, hey, you're looking pretty good for a girl who's 82. Hey Blondie, out of all them high society women, he chose you. And Dagwood, get off of the couch, don't you fall asleep so soon. You gotta take her up on the roof, take a look at the moon. Dagwood's not the morning guy, makes the carpool late. Boss man cut vacation back, never gets a break. The fashion cleaner ladies said, I hope you're not upset, Dagwood, but your wife picked up the cleaners. She's afraid you would forget. Hey Blondie, hey, you're looking pretty good for a girl who's 82. Hey Blondie, out of all them high society women, he chose you. Dagwood, get off of the couch and don't you fall asleep so soon. You gotta take her up on the roof, look at the moon. Black and white on work days, how fast the weekend flies. Sunday morning colors help to open up our eyes. She says, I love you, Dagwood. With that love comes trust. I think a little bit of rooftop romance just might do the trick for us. Got trouble on my TV, bad news in my car. I can always count on those two, know right where they are. I flip on past the real world, spill my coffee on the page. I find that same old couple whose true love doesn't ever change. Hey Blondie, hey, you're looking pretty good for a girl who's 82. Hey Blondie, out of all them high society women, he chose you. Dagwood, get off of the couch and don't you fall asleep so soon. You gotta take her up on the roof, look at the moon.
That's old Adam Carroll right there.
And that's Chris Carroll.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Come on back. Thanks, sweetheart.
Thank you for
Want me to
singing.
keep these with me?
She's at Mission Control back there.
It's a little bit hot, the signal.
Yeah. Well, everybody, so the next song on Screen Door is called Hunter's Song. And it'll take a little minute to talk about that. It's a song that I wrote. I'm not really sure when, but as many San Martians know, the two kind of main music venues, and at one point I think the only ones, were the Triple Crown and Cheatham Street. And most of the time you couldn't play both. But when I was getting started, I got booked at the Triple Crown one time, and it was okay with Kent. I don't know why I got the pass, but I got the pass. He was okay, and he actually even came to see me at that show, and with his brother Mike, and sat in the front row at the old Triple Crown. So much smoke in there you could cure bacon. Mark Youngers played there a lot. Played on some great shows there. I saw Tony Price there one time. Rough Joint had some soul. Wasn't really my kind of soul, but had some soul. And a lot of good, a lot of interesting times there. And I remember I played at the Triple Crown, and I started doing cover songs and decided to play Hotel California, and I did. And this old lady came up and started rubbing against me during Hotel California, and I thought, well, I guess I could do this if I had to again, but it'd probably be best if I just stayed at Cheatham Street from now on. So that's kind of the way they worked out. But I remember about this time when I first started hearing about Americana music, and especially Robert Earl's Live Dinner Number 2. He came to Tyler once and played. I had a cousin David, who was a big Robert Earl fan, turned me on to Robert Earl when I was at church camp in Kerrville. He was just down the road at another church camp. He turned me on to Robert Earl. We listened to Robert Earl and, chewed tobacco and stuff like a lot of people do that, at that age. And drove to Kerrville. And then a lot of other people knew about him too, but I never knew about him. But he came to Tyler, and my cousin David and I saw him there. That was after that. I had some buddies in Tyler. They said, well, if you like that, you should come and check out the Sharecroppers, because a good buddy of mine is in that band, and he was from East Texas. And I said, well, sure. And it turned out we drove to Green. Actually, it was in Green, and the Sharecroppers were playing an outdoor show, and they had this sound and light man that had the sound and lights for one of the Grateful Dead tours. Jimenez was his name, I think. And I watched the Sharecroppers. It was like an all-day event, kind of hippy-dippy festival. And and they had Shiner Bach there. And it was a big deal. And they were amazing. And Nathan Hamilton was sort of the front man, although they had 3 songwriters. So even though he was kind of the one that had the songs that were most talked about, they all kind of shared it. And they all 3, there was 3 songwriters, and they had different songs. And man, it was like, there were some amazing shows they did. And I saw them there, and I met Nathan there, and I was like, man, this is amazing. This guy, Nathan Hamilton, is incredible. And he said, this is Adam. He's a good songwriter, Hey, Nathan. Hey, Adam. And then, and that was it. And they had big drum circles after the show and everything. And that kind of stuff doesn't really happen in Tyler, so it was great. So that band split up, and Nathan started doing a solo thing later, and that one of the other parts of the band there became a band called 100 Year Flood. And so one time they played at the Triple Crown, and I came out to see them, and they had kind of a crew with them, and this lady that was a fan of theirs had a son named Hunter. Hunter River was his name, and he was about 8, I think, at the time. They were playing the Triple Crown, and they had him a little drum circle at the end of the show, and Hunter was on drums, drinking a Coke, playing the drums, getting into the drum circle vibe at the Triple Crown, pretty hippy dippy stuff. And they kind of spotlighted him, and I thought, man, that's the coolest thing ever. 8 years old, doing a drum circle at a smoky bar. And so I was inspired to write this song here called Hunter's Song. And as it turns out, Hunter's all right. He 19 years old, or I think he's a grown man now, and a fireman. So maybe he still plays drums. I don't know. Here you go, Hunter. Here we go. There was a baby boy. He made some noise in the moonlight with a drum. I heard a cheer and an empty beer for every song with the band he sung. It's a bitch, it's a grin, it's a luck, it's a sin, growing up with a good time band. But keep keeping on to the beat of your drum. You're keeping time like a man.
Well, Hunter, take the good times, Hunter, take the bad times, send them down the road in a VW bus, sitting on the back of the bus with your circle of friends. I always did like you. One day they're gonna mic you. They're gonna read about you in the magazines. I never seen another one like you, that's what they'll say. And you know I'm never going to again. Well, it's hard to get along when your same damn songs don't say just what you mean anymore. It's hard to sleep in a motel room with the white lines at your door. But you got a message to deliver. You got the road and the river to help you with the pain. The road's not home and your heart's wide open, but the river's got your last name, boy. Hunter, take the good times, Hunter, take the bad times, send them down the road in a VW bus. What's the road to you when you got yourself one good friend? Well, I always did like you. One day they're gonna mic you. They're gonna read about you in the magazines. But I never seen another one like you. And you know I never will again. And this is what happens when you've been playing music for about 10 years, I think. You get rode hard, whipped down, standing in the rain with your own kind of blues. I can see a rainbow looking in your eyes and reflected off your pair of shoes. Every boy, every girl gets a piece of the world, and you're gonna get yours someday. Maybe passing on through to a moon-eyed girl in a bar in Santa Fe. Hunter, take the good times, Hunter, take the bad times, send them down the road in a VW bus, sitting on the back of the bus with your circle of friends. Well, I always did like you. One day they're gonna mic you. They're gonna read about you in the magazines. I never seen another one like you. I never wanna be again. There never was another like Hunter. There never gonna be again. Keep playing those drums, Hunter. Fighting those fires, man. That's right. Old Hunter River. He did all right. Well, the next song is Old Milwaukee's Best. And sure glad y'all are still tuning in. As I say, this is pretty loose, but that's how we made the album, Screen Door. And thanks for hanging with us. I remember I had a job in Tyler, Texas for a while. I'm not even sure if I got paid. I think I might have been promised a paycheck. I did get paid. I was delivering newspapers to, all these different businesses in the Northeast Texas area of Smith and I believe, what is that, Palestine, Anderson County, I think. And I was driving around, and the newspapers were not really getting delivered. Not really getting delivered. There was a lot of them in the back of the car, and I had every intention of cranking those things out, but they just didn't really get delivered the way that the people that hired me intended for them to. And it would have been nice to have GPS back then, but President Clinton hadn't unscrambled the codes yet, so I was lost. And so I remember about that time I was listening to NPR. They had, of course, they had World Cafe. It would come on NPR. You could pick up out of Dallas, and there was a guy on there singing a song about PBR. And folk singer, I can't remember his name, but he had a song about PBR, and they loved it. And I thought it was hilarious that a guy could write a song about PBR on a folk show and talk about how that was his weak spot. And I remember, man, this is awesome. And I had just been turned on to REK, and I saw that there were like East Coast people singing about this stuff too, I guess, because it was out of Philadelphia. So I wondered, man, is there any way that this could, that this could work for other people? So I went home and I wrote this song here. Yeah.
Lost my first wife to a woman. Lost my second wife to a man. Lost my third wife to my cousin. Lost my fifth wife to my aunt. You gotta train them girls like bulldogs, boys, if you want to keep them around. Got a case of old Milwaukee. She won't never let me down. Like to drink 'em with my friends around. Suck 'em back till they hit the ground. They're here with me and they'll be here till the end. Well, the wife and the kids and the dogs are gone. Can't get Jesus on the phone. Old Milwaukee's best is my best friend. You know, sometimes when Chris and I play house concerts, we played a lot of house concerts, like a lot of our friends. Most of the time, it's big time music fans, but every once in a while, in a certain place, like say Cleveland, one or two other places, there'll be somebody who loves Milwaukee's best, not the song, but the beer. And the song, when they hear it, they kind of like it too, and it's usually the only song they listen to the whole night. Oil prices were dropping then. My third wife had enough of that. She ran off to the Holy Land with Yasser Arafat. He's got 13 girls in a harem. He's got carpets and bags and beads, but I got a 12-pack of old Milwaukee and just one more trick up my sleeve. Like to drink 'em with my friends around, suck 'em back till I hit the ground. They're here with me and they'll be here till the end. Well, the wife and the kids and the dogs are gone. Can't get Jesus on the phone. Old Milwaukee's best is my best friend. Well, old Milwaukee ain't the best way for the American boy to go. I got a dually pickup truck. I got 10 miles of the open road. My rear view streaked with gravel. My windshield's marked with tears. I got the pages of Larry Flint. I got the honeys of the year. I like to drink 'em with my friends around, suck 'em back till I hit the ground. They're here with me and they'll be here till the end. Well, the wife and the kids and the dogs are gone. Can't get Jesus on the phone. Old Milwaukee's best is my best friend. Try to sound like Ramblin' Jack Elliott as best I can, but well, my daddy was a preacher in a church full of old outlaws. Got about as much fear of Satan as I got of Santa Claus. I read the Revelations. I'm not worried in the least. When you got 3 6-packs of Milwaukee's best, you got the number of the beast. I like to drink 'em with my friends around, suck 'em back till I hit the ground. They're here with me and they'll be here till the end. Well, the wife and the kids and the dogs are gone. Can't get Jesus on the phone. Old Milwaukee's best is my best friend. Everybody. Old Milwaukee's best is my best friend.
Hey everyone, my name is Nathan Hamilton. I'm a singer-songwriter here in Austin, Texas. But I met Adam in 1997, and I was in a band called the Sharecroppers, also known as the Good Medicine Band, and Adam used to come up to see our shows. It would be like, I guess over the course of the next year, that Adam and I would end up sharing the same publicist and the same booking agent, and so as a result, we ended up doing quite a few shows together, song swaps and a couple of little tours. And I remember one tour later on that we did through Texas and Arkansas and into Tennessee. And I think it was during that time that I remember hearing the songs for the next record, for Looking Out the Screen, that would be Looking Out the Screen Door. And some of those nights, it would just be me and Adam, you know, maybe a sound guy if there was one, and the bartender, and maybe a local guy at the bar talking to the bartender, and that was it. And we would just be sitting on stage looking out at a room of empty tables and chairs. And so some nights it would just be us playing for each other, because the show would go on regardless. You know, we came to play and we would play. So but that's when I remember hearing those songs for the first time, and especially Errol's song just floored me when I heard it. And each song, you know, after that, Race Car Joe and Screen Door and Rosemary's Song and Girl with the Dirty Hair and every song, everything that would come to be the album Looking Out the Screen Door. And the thing about, I mean, South of Town was a great record, but something about Looking Out the Screen Door, it felt more cohesive to me as a piece. And the characters were even richer, and because his characters are just that, they're really deep, thoughtful portraits. They're not caricatures. It's not just an idea of something. It is a fully fleshed out, detailed, in a very economic and efficient way.
Thank you, Nathan. See, I wasn't lying. You know, a lot of times nobody came to see us play, but sure love that guy's songs, man. Me and Nathan were doing this tour, and Randy Rogers was booking our shows, and he called himself Randall Wade because he didn't want, you know, if somebody got mad at him for something we did or a show we played where nobody showed up, he didn't want that reflecting on his career, you know, as Randy Rogers. He's smart, you know, he's a smart guy, and you know, he drew a lot more people to cheat him than I ever did, but he worked so hard to book us, and he booked us at the High Tone Lounge in Memphis one time, which was Elvis's old karate studio, I'm told. And we were doing a show, me and Nathan, and I just thought that I think Nathan had done quite a bit of touring at that point in his career, and I think this was the first time I'd gotten out of Texas, and I just thought, man, I'm playing a club in Memphis, and I've arrived, and I have. I mean, I love it, but nobody was there except for me and Nathan and the bartender, and you know, one thing that Nathan imparted on me with his wisdom is that I think the bartender and the sound man both said that they liked our set, and so when they say that, that means that you did good, because they see so much music that they usually don't lie and say it was good if they didn't enjoy it. Somebody starts sweeping the floor and you just drive away. So the stage, I mean, and the floor, but Nathan and I we did this tour where we played some shows in Texas, and then we played Nashville. We played the Bluebird. We played the Bluebird, and I don't think hardly anybody was there either. Still very quiet, even without a crowd. You know, nobody talks. And we played the Bluebird, and then we drove to Memphis, and then we played the High Tone. And man, you know, just I think we did Dallas and Memphis and the High Tone and Nashville, and I got to hear those Nathan Hamilton songs every night off of Tuscola, and just all the stuff he's done since then. I've loved all of it. But you know, one thing was happening. I think we took my car. I think his wife needed his car at the time for work, so we took my car and drove up and did this tour. When we were coming back, you know, from the show in Memphis, I think we drove to my folks' house because I figured it was close. We could spend the night there, and we did an all-nighter. And we were talking about music, and you know, Nathan's a really smart guy, and he's done a lot of stuff with acting and script writing and stuff. So we were talking about writing some scripts and things, and talking about music, and you know, staying awake with coffee and stuff. And about the time we got to Oklahoma, we had crossed the Red River. We were going to Tyler, and I don't know what route we were taking, but we somehow ended up in Oklahoma. We were supposed to be in Tyler, and I said, you know, Nathan, I think we're in Oklahoma. He said, you know, damn, sure enough, Adam, we're in Oklahoma. You know, we didn't have a show there. I just got lost. And Nathan just looked at me and said, you know, man, you just drove us to Oklahoma. And I said, hey, sorry about that, buddy. So we turned around and we drove another couple hours to my parents' house. And I think he just had such a good time playing those gigs, even though nobody showed up, that he didn't care that I drove us to eastern Oklahoma, almost to Tahlequah, in the middle of the night. So sorry about that, Nathan. This next song, he was talking about characters, and this is a song. The guy that introduced me to Nathan and the Sharecroppers was a guy named Cameron Wade, and real knowledgeable about music. And we used to hang out together there in Tyler and watched a karaoke show one night at an on the border Mexican restaurant there, and these two characters were putting on a karaoke show there, and one of them was named Cowboy Bob, and he looked the part. He was decked out. The other guy was more like a evangelist preacher, and didn't really dress up because there was no religious music. It was all cover songs. So I thought the guy with the belt buckle and the Western outfit was a little more convincing to me at that time, and we were pretty much the only fans there, and we weren't fans per se, but they probably had more people at their show than a lot of my shows. I wrote this song after listening to them because this guy sang some killer George Jones with a karaoke track. Okay. Weeknights at the Ramada, there's not too much to see, except Tuesday night's karaoke night. You get the wild turkey free, and in a Stetson hat and some snakeskin boots and a bolo tie and jeans. That's the karaoke cowboy. His name is Bob. He's at the bar in Grand Saline. Artistic license. It was on the border Mexican food restaurant, but I moved it to Grand Saline. There's no bar there, I don't think. But that's the place where you can drink pretty much when you're driving out of Tyler. So. In the bottom of his tip jar is a quarter and a dime for all them scratched up haggard songs where the drunks got out of line. The nights he's on, he can sing George Jones in a wild turkey dream. He's got all he can drink that night, and that's the karaoke cowboy at the bar in Grand Saline. He said he hit it big in Branson, doing Elvis every day, till the trailer park tornado took all of that away. He's got a whiskey throat and a broken heart from his dried up Nashville scene. Now he's karaoke every Tuesday night at the bar in Grand Saline. Luana was a Rose Queen. Her high school picture's on the wall. We wonder how she's a barmaid now, with her name on the bathroom stall. But the night, we seen her smile at the cowboy style. Thank you, Chris Carroll. He treats her like a queen. She falls in love every Tuesday night at the bar in Grand Saline. And there's a blue tick howling at the first full moon in the backside of the bar. Wild turkey on the house every Tuesday night makes everyone big stars. We sing all night till we feel all right, or till the barmaid gets obscene. Then we say good night to Cowboy Bob at the bar in Grand Saline. We sing all night till we feel all right, or till the barmaid gets obscene. Then we say good night to Cowboy Bob, 'cause he's a star
Yeah, he is. And Grand Saline.
Girl with the Dirty Hair was the first song that Adam and I ever wrote together back in, I want to say, spring of 1999. I met Adam late 98 at the old Poor David's Pub there on Lower Greenville. My first job in the business was lead guitar for an early version of the Corey Morrow Band, and Adam opened a show for us. And I just remember watching his set thinking, man, I want to do that, because I was writing songs at that time too, and Adam and I are about the same age, and I figured we should get together. And we all became friends, and within a few months, Adam was living in Corey Morrow's house. They were roommates. They were on Shoalwood Avenue. And after shows on Saturdays, Adam would go to his gig and we would go to our gig, and we would all end up back at the house around 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I walked in, and Adam's in his room, and he's writing this, he's a big tablet, paper tablet back in those days. And he had a the thick Crayola magic marker, and he was writing this song in Crayola magic marker. And I'm like, what do you got there, big guy? He said, well, I've got this verse and this chorus. He played it for me, and of course it was Gulf Coastal, so it was right up my alley. I'm like, this is great. And then he said, where does it go from here? And I said, give me the paper and the marker, and we had the meter and all the rhythmic patterns were there. So I just finished the song and handed it back to him, and we sang it, and that was it. That was really all that went into it. And here we are 20 years later. That's still a song that you'll hear at Adam's shows. And Hayes Carl did a wonderful version of that song on the tribute album. And proud of that song. It's a simple song that paints such a clear picture of that thin slice of life Guy Clark talks about on the Texas Gulf Coast. If you're familiar, it's its own deal. And love that song. Never get tired of it. When I used to play live, I did. If I ever play live again, maybe I'll do it. But I love hearing Adam sing that song. It's a special song, and it's had a lot of staying power.
Scarface in the corner, stumbling for a fight. It sure looks good in Galveston tonight. I'm right in the middle of the riffraff, roughnecks are killing time. The girl with the dirty hair said she'd be mine. Scarface used to tell me, gone are the fishing days. The Cajuns fish the redfish all the way. I got that dirty-haired woman, said she'd be mine till the end. Till the Cajuns stopped dancing, the redfish came back again. Scarface in the corner, stumbling for a fight. It sure looks good in Galveston tonight. I'm right in the middle of the riffraff, roughnecks are killing time. And the girl with the dirty hair said she'd be mine. If I had me some sense, I'd be 5 years gone. Everyone I used to know moved along. Me and Mother Ocean stared into the night. The boats are tied and there's not a soul in sight. I thought to myself, I'd have did it all by now, but I got stuck in Galveston somehow. She's twisting and she's turning, she won't leave me alone. But the girl with the dirty hair said she'd drive me home. Scarface in the corner, stumbling for a fight. It sure looks good in Galveston tonight. I'm right in the middle of the riffraff. Roughnecks are killing time. The girl with the dirty hair said she'd be mine. Scarface in the corner, stumbled in for a fight. It sure looks good in Galveston tonight. I'm right in the middle of the riffraff. Roughnecks are killing time. The girl with the dirty hair said she'd be mine.
Hey everybody, this is Hayes Carl, and I am a huge Adam Carroll fan, as I assume y'all probably are if you're watching this. I was turned on to Adam's music pretty early on. I got a copy of his first album, and it just blew me away. It was everything that I loved in my singer-songwriters. It was witty, it was smart, it was funny, it was deep, and he created this world and these characters that were so fully formed, and I was like I knew these people, and even if I didn't, I could, from my own experience in life, I knew them through his songs, because he just painted these pictures that you could just reach out and touch them, and what a gift. I don't know. I was immediately envious of Adam and his talent and the work he was doing. As an aspiring singer-songwriter myself, it was hard to hide my. I wasn't resentful of him, but I was very jealous, but I channeled that mostly into positive energies, where I just tried to be around him, so I could see how he did what he did, and even if I couldn't glean anything from that, just to hang out and get to watch it and witness it as a fan. And so I did that. I used to skip my own shows, my gigs, with like 2 people. It wasn't a huge sacrifice, but I would kill off a grandparent or a relative as an excuse to the bar owner, and then go down whenever Adam would come to Houston or Galveston and watch him, because I learned a lot, and it was also just incredible to watch him perform. It was magical to me. I find him so incredibly talented, and then eventually we became friends, and he invited me out on a few shows, which was very generous of him. These clubs wouldn't have let me in without him asking, and so that was I've always been grateful for that. Although it's tough to follow Adam Carroll in a song swap. He'd play a song, and I just wanted to walk off at times. But anyway, really sweet guy, really talented guy, and just one of my all-time favorite writers. And I remember when Looking Out the Screen Door came out, the follow-up to his first record, I was so excited to hear it, because the first one I just thought was incredible, and then he raised the bar again. I don't know. I think it's a classic record from beginning to end. I think it's one of the best records I've ever heard. And there are songs that I've covered on there, like The Girl with the Dirty Hair, Race Car Joe, lots of stuff. But it's really just a record that I love to put on and play. Like I said, it took me to this other world, and it was smart and interesting, and it had heart from that very beginning. Harmonica solo, he sets the mood, and it just feels like you're talking with a friend. And a guy that you want to hang out with. I've always felt that way about his stuff. It was just very real, very human, but very sharp and perceptive, and it made me feel like somebody understood me out there, or could at least sketch out what I was feeling in the song. So, yeah, I could go on for a while, but I know there's a show happening, so I'll leave it at that. But I'm a huge fan, and it's impossible for me to overstate how influential Adam's work was on me as a up and coming songwriter, and also just how much I appreciated it as a fan, and getting to watch what he comes up with, and that weird mind of his. And I say that in the best possible way, and that he goes places as a writer and as a person sometimes where most of us don't go. And I think that's what makes him so unique and so special, and I really admire that. So, all right, here's to you, Adam. Congrats on however many years it's been with this record, and for making it, and for all the great work you've done. I'm a fan, and will be always. So, all right.
Thank you, Hayes. I got to go watch R.A.K. in Tyler, Texas one time, and I bought all of his records. And I think I wrote this song after hearing Gringo Honeyman. On the world's last steam train, looking out the window, watch another life go by. Got tongue-tied, gun-shy, standing in your doorway, trying not to say goodbye to the secrets in your bedroom that you told. I want to press my silver cross against your gold. Well, passing through a ghost town, looking at the sundown, talking to the engineer. Want to backtrack time till the whistle stops blowing and the snow caps disappear. Baby, all these empty boxcars look the same. I want to get off of this God-forsaken train. Well, I'm thinking about you all the way from Brownsville to Laredo. Bought a round-trip ticket from Denver to Durango, counting all the tracks till I get off of the train. Somewhere the ghost of your warm love lies between your long black hair and your pretty dark eyes. Hope it doesn't fade away like the frost on the window pane. I want to come back to the roses in your name. Got me feeling kind of lovesick, looking like a train wreck, listening to the engine moan, looking for a rainbow, waiting at the depot, standing by the telephone. Had my arms wrapped around you, it was almost all night long. I give 1,000 Hail Marys just to figure out what went wrong. Thinking about you all the way from Brownsville to Laredo. Bought a round-trip ticket from Denver to Durango, counting all the tracks till I get off of the train. Somewhere the ghost of your warm love lies between your long black hair, your pretty dark eyes. It's probably gonna fade away like the frost on the window pane. Gonna come back to the roses. I
I wanna come back to the roses, come back to the roses in your name. On the world's last steam train, looking out the window, watch another life go by. Got tongue-tied, gun-shy, standing in your doorway, trying not to say goodbye to the secrets in your bedroom that you told. I want to press my silver cross against your gold.
Hi, folks. It's Beans on Toast here. Folk singer from the UK, coming at you now from my comfort of my own home in London. Talking about Adam Carroll. I think I first actually heard Adam's music. It was the first band that was kind of computer-generated suggestion in iTunes. I think it was sort of pre-Spotify and stuff like that, but I had iTunes and it sort of said, if you like this album, you might like that one. And I thought, you know, what the hell, go for it. Obviously now a lot of music's chosen like that, but this was definitely the first time I'd ever let a computer choose my choose my choice of record. And I got it was still purchasing MP3s then, so I downloaded Looking at Screen Door, and what I completely fell in love with it. What an absolutely beautiful album. Simple and tender and straight to the point, and extremely emotional. And it was, I never since then have I had a computer choose such a good album. I must say it was definitely beginner's luck for the algorithms there. I listened to the record almost non-stop for that whole summer. And then went on to sort of discover his whole back catalogue as well. And then years later, I was playing a gig in Texas, I think at Houston, supporting a chap called Frank Turner. And I love a lot of country music. I love a lot of music from Texas. So I was kind of reeling off, Guy Clark, and I was sort of name checking my favorite Texas songwriters. And I said Adam Carroll, and in that list, somehow someone in there bought one of my CDs and got it to Adam, who then listened to it and got in touch online a few years ago. And we've been sort of chatting online a few times since, which is a beautiful thing. It really is. Hopefully one day when the world kind of realigns itself with the stars, we'll play some shows together, be it Adam coming to London or me being out in Texas. But loads of love. What a great record. I hope you're all enjoying sort of celebrating it. It's definitely an album that deserves a celebration. So, see you soon.
Thank you, Beans on Toast. Thank you, Brian Rung, for riding the girl with the dirty hair with me. Thank you, everybody. I'm grateful. Thank you, Chris Carroll. Thank you, Coach. If you want to, tune into our next episode, Faraway Blues, October 15th. And thank you all for being here and supporting us with our 3 dogs. We love you.